Hello and welcome in, everyone. It's Scootsy16 here with another episode of the Chem Lock League. The Outlaws lost in Game 3 of the championship finals against the Dive Bombers, and they will be the runners-up in Season 2. We headed to the offseason, and just as a quick recap, we ended up releasing the 3 players that we brought in just for the playoffs. We were overpaying Fabian Bale, Brody Mashington, and Glover Macho Man, so we released them. We also ended up releasing Glass Snyder, who was getting slightly overpaid, but also at age 38 has been regressing, and that has been making things really difficult for us. He started off pretty hot, but then faded towards the back end of that season. He also, taking a look at the playoffs, did not there it is. Played okay, but again, just didn't show up in the way we were hoping for. And that was another reason why we decided to make that call. So we, where I left you all off was I was going to kind of do some scouting in the free agent pool, determine who's available and who I might want to bring in. I also was thinking, and I mentioned, like, depending on how this next season goes, we'll figure out what we're going to do with the Chem Lock League. I am going to make the executive decision now that this team is playing for a win or bust situation. So we are going to win it all in Season 3, and I will remain for Season 4. Or if we do not win in Season 3, I will pick a new team from the other conference, and then I am going to be doing a shuffle draft based on their chemistry traits. So that's what's going to happen after Season 3 ends. So with that being said, we are committed to going all in. So I am going to be spending every dollar I have. No development happening for this squad outside of the random ARC events that do occur. So that's where we're at. I plan to keep most of this team intact, but I have looked through the free agency and have made kind of a plan for what team I would like to see, and it will meet the chemistry expectations that we need. So let's go ahead and take a look at some of the players that I am going to be spotting. So I'm going to sort by position. We'll start with just the position players. And in our catching department, we have Giovanni Mays and Alex Hernandez. I've been very pleased with how our catchers have performed, especially Giovanni Mays, but really Alex Hernandez has developed well and also has surprised us with some big hits and some big moments. So for the catching position, there is only one player that I would consider. You see another one highlighted. I'll get to that one in just a moment. There is one player that I would consider replacing Giovanni Mays with if the price would be acceptable for us, and that is B. Buck. B. Buck here is 27, good fielder with a good arm, definitely better than Giovanni Mays, but he has fastball hitter and then that rally starter trait, which isn't a lot, but plus 12 contact on top of his 46 would be putting him in a much better place, especially if he gets a fastball that he can drive. So that is a player that I would look to bring in. He is about the same price as Giovanni Mays, so it would be very tough for me to make that call, especially with Giovanni Mays currently getting paid 8.2. But that would be the only player that I would consider replacing Giovanni Mays with if we had the money. And again, we know the history with Giovanni, so I don't necessarily want to make that move. Bento Foster is a guy I'm starring because look at those traits there. Pinch perfect and consistent from our backup catcher. It would be a downgrade with arm, but I think that this would be a very interesting option to replace Alex Hernandez with. And since we're going all in, I'm just committing to the best players possible. I would do this if that price dips below 4.2. Might not get there as he's currently 22 years old, so that would be a tough ask. Looking down into the first base section here, and a couple of interesting names that pop up, but one in particular I'm very interested in, and that's Joaquin Keller. I apologize for that first attempt at pronunciation. He's 34. I don't care about age. I didn't worry about age for any of this. So he's 34. Look at those power, contact, speed ratings. Very interesting to me. Also, would be tier 1 power versus righty, so that's just a +5 boost. But he also has fastball hitter. I would plan to bring in Joaquin Keller as exclusively a DH or a fill-in for Justice Cologne if she was injured or was slumping. So that was who I'd like to bring in, but I don't think we'll be able to afford him at $12 million. So we may not be able to get him. Instead, I am targeting Elias Hensley, the former All-Star and actually #2 in the MVP voting last year. He's out here, and he has high pitch and fastball hitter. He's only 6.5 as far as his current valuation and 34 years old, so we might be able to get him for a good deal. And this would be another exclusive DH option or potential bench bat. He could also come in to cover first base if necessary. So that's a player I'm planning to bring in. The recent players we just talked about, none of them were actually on my radar to sign. Elias Hensley is. Tucker Long is a backup option. He is 21, so he may naturally develop. He also has fastball hitter built in. He has 70 contact and 50 power, and I think that would play up a little bit. So that is a backup option if we can't get Elias Hensley. Elias with that 82 contact, I'm much more interested in, especially with high pitch. All right. Then we are looking at backup options. I did star Fabian Bale. He's interesting to me, but he's not the guy that I'd like to bring in. Instead, we cruise back down. I did start Glass Snyder as a just-in-case option, but I think he'll be too expensive for what I want. Instead, I come all the way down here, and in the shortstop category is Saul Ferguson. Saul Ferguson, a very good defender. He's got good speed. He's got good contact. He also has low pitch traits. So as a shortstop and infield option, he's going to be good off the bench. And with his price, he should be affordable. And I'm hoping to bring him in. But again, backup option would be like Nick Douglas or Fabian Bale, depending on the circumstances. So that's what we'll be looking at there. As we head to the outfield, our outfield is pretty solidified. The only thing I was looking for, I felt like all year we were struggling when it came to defense in center field. If it wasn't Dalton Babshishin, I felt like we were a liability in center field. Luckily, we never had that issue. Caroline Dealer would be the next best option, but I don't like 63 speed in center field. So I was looking at an option to bring in to be a backup outfielder, similar to what we saw from Alfredo Levine, and that would be Catherine McKinney. She is 38. She is a center fielder, plays all the outfield positions, so she wouldn't even get docked for being in center. And she has good speed. She has good fielding. She has good arm. She also clutch trait, which, again, would not be very impactful, unfortunately, but it would only help. Not a good hitter at all, but it would just be kind of a bench outfield bat. And she would be planning to be brought in to replace Leanna Welch. I know I like Leanna Welch just as much as the next person, and I almost like her more than Caroline Dealer, but I have to make this decision based on the chemistry traits. And with what my plan is, we need that extra competitive trait or the competitive player in Caroline Dealer. Leanna Welch being scholarly does not help this team. So I'm sad to let her go, hoping that maybe the next iteration of the Chem Lock League will see her around again. Maybe we can bring her back in, but that's where we'll leave it. So that's all of our offensive changes. So just a quick recap. I plan to bring in Elias Hensley as a backup infielder. I plan to bring in Saul Ferguson as our backup infielder as well. And then I plan to bring in McKinney to replace Leanna Welch in the outfield. Now let's get to the pitching staff. I plan to keep Madden Zimmerman, Rince Shaw, and Lily Dubs. But in that fourth spot in the rotation, I want to bring in, as I scroll all the way down here, it will be Bam Bingo. He's 30, he's a lefty, he has good accuracy, good velocity, and okay junk. 2 pitches, 2 fastballs, 2 off-speed pitches. this is kind of what I'm looking for as a average pitcher. I think Rince Shaw will continue to develop. I would love to bring in Kellen Kirk, but not only can I not afford him, but also he's crafty and we wouldn't be able to bring him in. I also thought about Brody Mashington, but again, just too expensive there. So we're going to have to leave it at Bam Bingo being the fourth pitcher in our starting rotation. But one thing I am going to make a big overhaul on is going to be the relief pitching. So the bullpen is going to look very different next year. We plan to keep Chris Flopside and Dane Rollins, and that's it. We will be replacing Glover Macho Man, Harvey Lancheros, and I know it is a very sad day, but I do plan to replace Jacoby Maddox as well. So let's look at those three players. So the one replacing Jacoby Maddox will be Elder Santos. Elder Santos, as a 25-year-old, 90 velocity is very impressive. Okay junk, and then has that great accuracy. He has an elite four-seam fastball, but this is the kicker. A relief pitcher with workhorse. That is going to lengthen our bullpen. We can't afford any of the top-tier long relievers that are out here. And so being able to get Elder Santos in here would be huge for this team. So that's what I'm looking to bring in as the replacement for Jacoby Maddox. And I think Jacoby, the way he regressed in season 2, I am too scared of that happening and getting even worse in season 3. The next player, we're going to be replacing Harvey Lancheros with Colton Ryan. Colton Ryan at 22 has a four-seam, a curveball, and a slider. Great accuracy, has average junk and velocity, has composed and an elite curveball. So we're going to see if that plays up for him. He will be coming in to replace Harvey Lancheros, and those traits should hopefully be much more impactful than the ones that he has. And then lastly, Dane Schaffer will be the replacement of what was the position that, or the spot that Glover Macho Man ended up holding in that last for the playoffs, excuse me. So Dane Schaffer with gets ahead, also has high velocity and slightly below average junk, has a four-seam, a curveball, and a slider. Would I love to see another fastball on both Schaffer and Colton Ryan? Yes. Unfortunately, we don't see that. And instead, we will be leaning on those traits and those. I think I'm leaning a little bit more into the accuracy than I am with the other, those other attributes. I just feel like accuracy is going to be a little bit more reliable. I could be wrong here, but that's going to be the players that we are aiming for. So I did take a look, and nobody is going to be like jumping off of the board right away. So we are going to sim ahead a little bit. And I do want to make sure that I don't take a whole hour for this video. So we will cruise ahead. And if I get the players that I want, we will skip through to the end of this off season. So let's get started. After the first one, you see Severus Homebrew goes to the Burners along with Jerry Love, our former left fielder and DH. He lost that fastball hitter trait. That's the only reason we didn't bring him back for the playoffs. Simming a little bit further, Vincente Banks, the 21-year-old, gets signed by the Scroungers. And then Jet French goes to the Skimmers. Once this starts picking up, I am not going to go through all of these. Bertram Pineda goes to the Maulers. They also get Count Chambers and then bring in Meadow Cortez. All right, so I'm going to do a quick peek here. None of these players should be at the point where we should have to pay way more than we need to for them. So that shouldn't be too much of a problem. I also think that I might bring in some of these players just as just in case we don't get our guy. So I'm going to bring in Glover Macho Man here with the 5.5 just to fill in his space. I'll also do the same for Brody. These are just placeholders for right now. And Fabian. I'll sign Fabian for his space. It helps to get a little bit more accuracy on what we're seeing in the on the board on the right as well. Brody into his spot and how much money we have to work with. So we're going to be making some changes. Don't worry. But just trying to clean things up. Oh, I also wanted to point this out because it's hilarious. So Emmeline Merritt, if you remember, she was on our team for all of season 1, and she never pitched, never even made an appearance, either in the regular season or the playoffs. She played for the Ungulates in season 2, and the same thing happened. So she has been in the league for 2 years and has yet to be able to make an appearance, and she has been on a team for her entire career. So it's just wild that she hasn't even made gotten an opportunity to step onto the mound. Just super, super funny there. I am keeping an eye on some of these players, but again, we are looking at the ones that I have targeted. I also was really interested in Colin Cabrera here, but I cannot replace him with Ramon Lee. Ramon Lee has been really good for us, and also I think that we're getting way more value from Ramon Lee than we would get paying up for Colin Cabrera. So that's where we're going to leave that. And Neil Carrillo goes to the Skimmers. And Jane Bulgar gets locked down. Golder Jones goes to the Bone Chills. Top Long Stroke goes to the Dive Bombers. And then the Bone Chills, holy moly, they just locked in Golder Jones and Jane Bulgar, the 2 best long relievers. That is frightening. So, whew, all right, well, let's take a quick peek and see where our players are at. And the only ones that I'm worried about, like Elder Santos here, I want to go one more round, and it's going to completely, I'm going to go one more round. That's the only player I'm like super worried about. Everyone else is lower tier, so they're all kind of like in that backup, should get to their normal cost. Bambingo is getting close. I'm going to go one more round and then get Elder Santos. Okay, Swing Barnstormer gets signed by the Blurs. And now we can look to see if... Where are you at? Where are you at, Santos? Did he stay at his... There he is. So 10.6. With what my calculations show, he should still allow us to be able to sign everyone else and have enough money. So I'm going to sign Elder Santos for plus 3.3 million over his value, and he is going to come in to replace Jacoby Maddox. Jacoby, we love you, we miss you, and we can't wait to see you again. We will be jumping up briefly into the 3rd tier for Scholarly, but that will change. And primarily it happened because we signed... oh, no, it wasn't that. But we will be replacing Leanna Welch, so we will be fine in that category. Also Harvey Lancheros as well. So we're going to... I guess the question would be, do you feel as though, since we're in the off season, that it's allowed to... I guess it would be like doing transactions. I'm not going to get this picky. We're not going to be playing at tier 3, so just because it's in tier 3 for a moment is fine. So Jacoby Maddox, we miss you. We wish you well. We'll see you later, buddy. All right, there's the move. It is somber, but here we go. Elder Santos comes in. Jacoby Maddox goes out. And now taking a look at the... Actually, what I'm going to do is I'm going to sort by this. B-Buck at 0.5 is getting close. Elias Henze 0.3. And then we go down to Joaquin Keller is at 0.5. So he might get signed. Doing a quick little cruise here. Looking at our other player, Saul Ferguson at 0.4. And then we look at Catherine McKinney is at 0.6. We're going to get her down to her normal price at the very least. And then Bambingo 0.3 over. He's 30, so I think we should get him at 7.3. And then for pitchers, we have Dane Schaffer at 0.6 and Colton Ryan at 0.5 or 0.7. So we should still be okay. So we're going to skip ahead. And Asher Garcia, Nick Wilkerson, Marcel Vincent is a guy I like, but we wouldn't have been able to afford. Matthew Bowen gets signed by the Dirt Dogs. I'm going to go another round here. And Juliet Carr gets signed by the Dirt Dogs, so they get the S tier closer. Cork Duffy goes to the Rippers. Cork is a pitcher that I was also very interested in. Lorelei Von Crum to the Pythons. Colin Cabrera goes to the Burglars. Pork Marsh to the Favorites. Lucas Fowle goes to the Dive Bombers. I was surprised to see Lucas is 21 years old. Okay, let's see. Where are we at? Bento is below his asking right now. We still would have to get him a lot lower. We'll keep an eye on that one. B Buck at 9.1. Interesting there. He has to get cheaper. Elias Hensley, 6.4. We're going to sign him. He is going to replace the Glass Snyder signing here. So that's what we'll see happen there. And then, boop, oops, boop, boop. All right. Next, we'll look down at the, let's see, where's Joaquin? He's at his price. Oh, I hate it. I want him so bad, but we can't afford him. And I was deciding either between Elder Santos and Joaquin Keller. I felt like it was better to have the pitching because we have so much good offense. And anyone can come to play, in any given night. So I felt like Joaquin Keller was the player we could pass on. So I'm really upset by it, but it is what it is. Glass Snyder, we're not going to bite on. 8.4 for Rail Sims is very intriguing. Saul Ferguson at 28, 6.7 is right what he's worth. I don't know if I'm not going to risk going another round for him. As long as everybody else is at their value, then I could be okay. Let's see, Catherine is at plus 0.1, so she's going to go down. And then Bam Bingo, we're signing him now. Let's get him in here to replace Brody Mashington. So money freed up there. And boop, boop. All right. And then we were looking at, Collins at his value. Yeah, we can't sign him. Emmeline Merritt. And there they are, plus 0.2. So at 22, he might be the guy I need to sign now. And then Dane Schaffer would be maybe one more round for him. Waylon Chung is an interesting player. He was an all-star, 99 accuracy, very intriguing. But I think I like Elder Santos better, right? Yeah, better than Workhorse. Or, I mean, yeah, Elder Santos better with Workhorse than Waylon Chung would be with the Gets Ahead and Elite changeup, especially Gets Ahead being on top of his 99 accuracy is kind of unnecessary. So I am going to sign Colton Ryan and give Dane Schaffer one more round. So Colton Ryan will come in to replace Harvey Loncheros. And that's going to be our second spirited player. And then I think I'm going to go one more round. What players do I still need? I need to replace Fabian Bale with Saul Ferguson. I need to replace Leanna Welch with Catherine McKinney. I need to replace Glover Macho Man with Dustin Schaffer. Been watching a little Blind Over Matter on YouTube. He's got a really great series going of SMB4. If you ever want to take a look at that, he has a player named Dustin Schaffer, and that's why I started saying that. Okay, I'm going to go one more round, and then I think I'll be signing the rest of these players and just praying to God that nobody gets signed. By the way, Skylar Rocket here, I wanted to sign him so bad, but losing his fastball hitter trait along with the base rounder being available. He's also a center fielder and first baseman. I think he used to be center field, first base, outfield, and he's regressed a bit. So I could not sign him. I wanted to though. I was really thinking about it. Orville Bracketeer is gone. See, Waylon Chung does get signed. Joaquin Keller gets signed. Cinnamon Muddy Water, Glass Hoffman, Beans Mostis is a hilarious name. Chucky Meyer, All-Star, and Joseph Roosevelt. Man, the below zeros just went crazy on their team. I almost bumped the next round button. Okay, so I am going to sort by that. B-Buck is getting me very, very tempted here, and I think we might actually have enough room for him. So let's go get our guys, starting with Saul Ferguson. He's below his asking, so we're bringing him in to replace Fabian Bale. And then we have Catherine McKinney. She's below her value, so we'll bring her in for Leanna Welch. And then we have, I think the only one left is Dane Schaffer, who's right at his value. And this is actually going to make me look at how much money do we have left. We have 5.4 to work with. So we may be able to upgrade one of these positions. But you can see, taking a look at the chemistry player set structure over there, we are currently accommodating that. Taking a look at the team, we have ourselves a really good setup, I think. I think the team looks really good here. The pitching staff looks a lot better. That bullpen is very strong now. I feel much better about that than I did in years prior. The pitching staff is okay. I could actually take a look at seeing if Bam Bango could be replaced by another starter. We have enough money for Mara Esparza. Mara Esparza. Ugh, gosh, what a name. Mara Esparza. We have Crispy Morris. We have Jace Burgess. Ellie Acosta, former All-Star, but if we bring her in, we would have to replace either Ramon Lee or the newly added Colton Ryan. We can't afford these other players. Kellen Kirk, we could bring in, but in order to bring him in, we would have to get rid of Fernanda Branch, and we do not have a good third base option. I actually was looking at the third baseman, and no one had an arm above 62. Actually, let's go take a look at that really quick. If we were to get rid of Fernanda Branch, third base options include Knox Dominguez, who's a good hitter, but a really, really bad fielder. We have Wade Ivey. We have Jamari Gates. Kind of average across the board, has magic hands, good speed, has power versus lefty at tier 1. We could bring in our old friend Glass Snyder as well. I don't hate that idea, so that we could upgrade to what's his name, Kellen Kirk, instead of Bam Bingo. Ooh, would we do it? Okay, so if we did that, 1.8 put us at 3.6, and then we could replace Bam Bingo with Kellen Kirk, who's a lefty as well, and I think that we are hurting for lefties. I could take a look at bullpen players too. There really was not a lot of good options here. We have Ramon McDonough, who could potentially come in to replace. He's currently below, so he could come in to replace Colton Ryan. But now we're getting really tight on funds because I don't think we'd have enough. 2.3. No, we definitely wouldn't be able to make all those moves. But let's see. See, Bo Fernandez is a player I would absolutely bring in any normal circumstance, except for this one. Mags Drader just kind of scared me with her, with what I've seen from her. She pitched really well, but we walked off against her both seasons, and she makes me very nervous. She's also a scholarly pitcher, so we couldn't really bring her in. Lionel Davis is another player I would love to have on the team, but wouldn't be able to bring in. Zay Lowbrow is a lefty, but again, those specialist traits don't really help us. So yeah, I'm at the point now where I am trying to max out. I was kind of in kind of a cautious, like being careful mode with the decisions that I was making. We could also, I believe it's too late for it, but Elias Hensley, we can't upgrade anywhere there, I don't think. That would make sense. Zuri Herman. We could upgrade Elias Hensley to Zuri Herman, who has off-speed hitter at second base shortstop. She's a former All-Star. We could bring in Jamari Gates for Elias Hensley instead, but I don't like that. Glass Snyder. And then who do we have at shortstop right now? Could go Rail Sims, too. Dandelion Burnside is a crazy name. Auguste Center Cut might be the brother of Tony Center Cut. I don't think that this is the route to go. I think we keep Elias. And then where do we max out the rest of our roster? We could make the cool. We could make the call to do Giovanni Mays for B-Buck. That would be a downgrade in both hitting attributes, a big upgrade in speed. We would lose some fielding, but we would gain 16 arm. And then keep in mind the downgrade in those hitting attributes would be offset by fastball hitter and rally starter. He's also 27 compared to Mays being 34. So that would be a huge downgrade or reset on age. We could also opt to go the route of Bento Foster bringing in instead of Alex Hernandez. If we were to replace Giovanni Mays with B-Buck, that's 0.7 there, so we're at 4.7. That would give us enough room to be able to get a scholarly pitcher or a scholarly player. That scholarly player could be Leanna Welch. I don't think there was a good outfield option at all, so I don't know if upgrading from the outfield is a good idea. Except for Henry Fernandez, but he's a bad fielder as well. And there's Leanna, which we have plenty of time to make that decision. Yeah. So we go Giovanni Mays to B-Buck. That feels dirty, making that decision. But we're kind of doing like a cutthroat, we're going all in mode. So I almost kind of feel like I want to see what we can do here. We go B-Buck at 0.7. That puts us at 4.7. Then what were we also going to look at doing? Fernanda Branch for Glass Snyder. So that would be 1.8. So that was 4.7. My God, I'm so brain dead right now. 4.7 minus 1.9 or 1.8 puts us at 2.9. So if we move Glass Snyder for Fernanda Branch and we bring in B-Buck instead of Giovanni Mays, we have 2.9 left. And to upgrade from Bam Bingo to Kellen Kirk, it would be 2.2. So we would have enough money to make this move. So we go Buck for Mays, Snyder for Branch, Kirk for Bingo. And we would still have 0.7 left. I think this upgrade in our pitching staff would be significant. We would lose a little bit of offense from Giovanni Mays, but I think it's okay. What's the difference between Bento Foster? It's 1.2. So if Bento were to drop down by 0.5 million, we could then sign him to bring in instead of Alex Hernandez as well. Very, very interesting. I think I'm going to do it. Wait, actually, we don't need to make this move to still be able to move Fernanda Branch and bring in Kellen Kirk. I really like Fernanda Branch, but she's still a development option, and I think her hitting has been a bit inconsistent. She's a really good fielder, though. But then we have a backup Saul Ferguson that can take the field to cover for Ramon Lee whenever we need to. Cover for Glass Snyder whenever we need to. So I think we do this just so that we can free up the space for Kellen Kirk, who's going to upgrade our our pitching staff significantly. So Fernanda Branch gets replaced by the veteran Glass Snyder. His regression is going to be the death of me. I know it. Bam Bingo will come out in place of Kellen Kirk. I would consider Ellie Acosta, who's just like a pretty much direct upgrade from Kellen Kirk, but I don't trust the crossed up trait. And she's spirited, so we'd have to get rid of that reliever. So Kellen Kirk is going to come in instead. That frees up 1.4, so we could keep Giovanni Mays, and we could then just choose to replace Bento Foster on the bench. That move would consist of dropping 12 in arm, +5 fielding, -6 speed, same contact, better power, would get the pinch perfect trait. And even if he's not hitting well, he shouldn't change his mojo during the game if he does have to, or when he does have to start for Giovanni Mays. But B-Buck is so tempting to me. I'm going to do it. Maybe you're mad at me. I don't know. But I just think that this is a guy that I think would be very, very significant upgrade for us. And then I'm going to try and see if we can get the other guy in replace of Alex Hernandez. So here comes B-Buck to replace Giovanni Mays. I'm sorry, Mays. You're going to probably beat up on us in the rest of the league, or during the rest of the season, if you sign with another team in our division or in our conference. But geez, that was a tough call. All right, the last thing that I want to do is sim ahead a little bit to see what other options. We still could bring in Leanna Welch back if she's able to fit within the budget here. But I think this team just got upgraded significantly. I would really like a lefty pitcher in the bullpen, but there's really nobody. Can I start? I can. Turnpike, Lancheros, Hassan De La Rosa. Isaiah Brow, no. Carmela Shisho with tier 3 Wild Thing, no thank you. Eternity Woody is spirited. And then the only other one is Dub McMahon, with who's spirited as well. So yeah, there's no lefties that we could bring in here. All right, let's do a little bit of simming to see if Foster can get down to the price that we're looking for. Let's see who gets signed. Just cruising through these players. There was a few different options we could have made, but I think we pulled the trigger on the right one. Bento Foster, 1.1 right now. We need him to drop a little bit further. If he doesn't, then I'm going to just skip ahead to the end of the season, or end of the off season. Okay, just checking in after every round. Is at 0.1, 0.3 away now. Next round. Aromatisse drops off of the Dirt Dogs. Eternity Woody goes. There's Bento Foster. He does get signed, so that's going to be it. I guess we can sim one round at a time just to see if players get released that we would be interested in, especially at maybe like third base. I did see a third baseman get dropped, but I think that they are have noodle arm. I thought I saw. Wade Ivy with Ace Exterminator. Mind game. I guess this would be easier just to go. See, now we have some third basemen that have some decent traits. So Cannon Avery has the magic hands, but has noodle arm. That's just terrible. And then Fernanda Branch, I will star her. Crush Lynch. That's a cool name. Scholarly, contact first righties, dive wizard. That's a good fielder. What would she look like instead of Glass Snyder? She'd free up some extra money. Oh, she's not even at her full value yet. Interesting. All right, next round. Oops. All right, any players getting dropped? Yeah, that's not a good one. Okay. Ashley Ariano was a free agent. I didn't even notice that one. Okay. See, Grayson Finley gets dropped. He's a starter with Rally Stopper, but a really bad one. Nick Douglas goes to the Ungulates, replacing Caesar Bearing. Caesar Bearing with Volatile. Infield outfield option with good fielding, but not much else. Nope. Glover Macho Man goes to the Ungulates as well. It's like our team, but on the other side. Another player gets dropped there. Okay, Adonis York gets signed. Esme Floggins. Bad player gets dropped. Justice Snyder. Byron Poole. Nope. Oh, Jacoby Maddox will go to the Skulls. We wish you well, my good sir. Good luck. All right, let's see. Player goes to the Bone Chills. Maurice Matthews gets dropped by the Blurs. Pretend South, we were looking at her in season 1. I'm going to check on that one third baseman. Crush Lynch, sitting at 0.3 under her value. And Fernanda Branch is sitting right around hers. I really don't want to see her signed by anyone else. Tucker Long is sitting out there still, too. Fastball hitter, rookie. Okay. Bam Bango will go to the Blurs, replacing Mutton House. All right, big round here. Mays goes to the Marauders. Oh, he's going to kick our ass. Shit. That's going to be unfortunate. Oh, well. Leanna Welch goes to the Bone Chills. Tucker Long goes to the Marauders as well, so we'll get to see him face off against us. Just one more check before we change everything. Our chemistry is intact. We have some solid structure for our team. It is looking very good. We went all in here this year, and it seems to have paid off for us. I don't see an option to upgrade at third base. Fernanda Branch is still out there. I don't know what else we could do. We could replace Saul Ferguson, but like Fernanda Branch is crafty, and there's no way we could do crafty other than if we were to replace Kellen Kirk, but definitely not doing that. And I think all of our options in the bullpen are gone too. Yeah, that's going to be it for that. Yeah, Saul is a defensive backup in the infield, and then we have Elias Hensley as an offensive backup, or offensive backup, but also likely going to be our primary DH. We have no upgrades for outfield either. Outfield was very, very sparse. Do we have any good options out there? No. No. Yeah, so everyone's gone here at this point. Quentin McBiddles. Going to keep Fernanda Branch starred there. Arlene Merritt. Lillian Fowler's gone. Crush Lynch, still somebody I'm very interested too. She is pretty solid and very undervalued, I think, for her attributes. We could free up a little bit of money, but then she could only play third and first. I think we stick with this. I do think... she's not going to help us offensively at all. Glass Snyder's going to be our primary third baseman again. So that's where we're at. Let's finish this one out. Let's just hope these big moves were worth it. And let's take a look at the team. B. Buck, our new catcher, with Alex Hernandez still the backup catcher behind him. B. Buck with fastball hitter at tier 3 will be very interesting, and a stronger arm as our starting catcher. Justice Colon will remain the first baseman. Elias Hensley comes in as a huge bat off the bench and also likely your primary DH for most of the year. Rock Quintana will man the second base bag again. Glass Snyder will come back at third base instead of Fernanda Branch, who I thought we would bring in. Ramon Lee will be your starting shortstop once again. Saul Ferguson going to be our utility infielder, as well as a nice bench bat with that tier 3 low pitch trait. Outfielder will be the same starters, so Tony Centercut in left, Dalton Bev Shishin in center, and Braden Sorelli in right. We will see Caroline Dealer be our backup outfielder along with Catherine McKinney. So in days where Elias Hensley was going to sit and we want Tony Centercut in the DH spot, we can put Caroline Dealer in left field, and she should hold up pretty well. Starting rotation. Very excited about this with Madden Zimmerman starting things off. Kellen Kirk, number 2. He was the Cy Young winner for or I guess not the Cy Young winner, but the best pitcher for the Yang Conference. He will be brought over here to be our number 2 starter. Rince Shaw will come back again along with Lily Dubs. Then we have a much stronger bullpen than we did before, with Chris Blopside returning along with Dane Rollins. And then we have Elder Santos, we have Colton Ryan, and we have Dane Schaffer, coming in and to fill out the rotation. We said goodbye to some big names in this one. This year is a make or break year for the Outlaws, and so Giovanni Mays leaves the team. We saw Fernanda Branch leave the team. We saw Leanna Welch leave the team. Brody Mashington, who was a short stay but a fun one, and then Jacoby Maddox and Harvey Loncheros both no longer on the team. But I think we look stronger on paper. I also think that we look stronger in our lineup. So if we do a suggested lineup really quick, you see Glass Snyder, Tony Centercut, Elias Hensley. We have Justice Cologne, Rock Quintana, B. Buck, Ramon Lee, Braden Sorelli, and then Dalton Babshishin. So that's what the team looks like. Your season 3 Outlaws are right here. And actually, let's do oh, I can't do the alternative uniforms right now. Boo. But here is your season 3 Outlaws. And it's make or break. We win it all, or we will be a manager for a new team come next year. So we'll see what happens. But thank you all so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this one. Let me know what you think about this team, and we'll see what they do next time out. Talk to you later. Bye, everyone.